Yo, what is going on? Oh, goodness. What a time. Oh, someone just texted me about what they got um, about the chapter, how good it was. So, what is up, everyone? It's your boy Nerdtaku, and I am ready for this chapter. Um, should be a really good one. Obviously, I have people telling me how good it is. So that is a plus. Um, I finally got my little girl down for a little bit of a nap after she's been fussing. She's right over there. Um, so, uh, she's right there on the chair next to me. Obviously, as you probably know, I am exhausted. Being a new father takes a lot out of you. It's a lot of waking up in the middle of the night to feed and stuff like that. So it's been very exhausting. Um, but I'm super excited for this chapter. Super excited for what is being said about this chapter. And I know that we're on a break week. So very excited about what's going on here. So if you want to follow along, right down here in the corner by my emblem, a little transparent. It's the chapter. Obviously, I do this for copyright infringement. So, um, yeah, if you want to follow along, please do. But we will jump right into it because I do have to feed her at some point. I'm just letting her sleep because she's been fussing all day. So she's exhausted. So let's jump in here. We got One Piece chapter 1165 Echo. And we got a cover request, and it says Beppo peacefully sleeping using Zeus as a pillow. Love it. This is actually really funny because Law is using Beppo as a pillow. Beppo is using Zeus as a pillow, and then they're both sleeping on what looks to be the giant sheep that is like a mink from Zoe. So that's super that's super cool. Um But yeah, not much to say here. Just glad to see Law after shoot, quite a few chapters of not seeing him after he got packed up. So always good to see Law. But let's just jump into it. And oh man, right where we left off. And we see Rocks. It says Rocks versus Roger and Garp. We see Rocks just like saying his mind. Please. And Garp says, "You hear that too, right?" And Roger says, "Yeah." And Rock says, "Please kill me." And he's like going to attack them. And Roger's just blackened his blade, conquers hockey coming off it. Looks like Rock's also has hockey hardening on his blade and conquers hockey coming off of it. So this is gonna be crazy. And Ra- Rizabek is swinging, and it says his words, the way he's acting, and that look on his face. He's cocks back and he clashes with Rocks. And Roger says, none of it adds up. Man, this is sick. But you see Garp jump above their clash as Conqueror's hockey pours out, and he hardens his fist and just punches Rocks right in the nose. It just clocks his shit with Conqueror's hockey. And Oh, we got the Lonely Mage. What is up, Lonely Mage? My boy Lucas, what is going on? We just see Garp punching this dude in the face and they're pushing him back. Roger's pushing him back. And then just this big blast of Conqueror's Hockey just comes out. Man. And Garp and Roger are sent flying. This is interesting. What is it trying to show us here? I guess maybe that he's overpowering them because he's getting pushed back and he stops. And Garp is like, huh? And then, like, the Conqueror's Hockey and the way that he's like going, it's like he blows them both back by following through with his swing. Baby making noise. Um, and just Conqueror's Hockey explodes. It looks like it's splitting the sky. Yep. And everyone's looking on and just being like, the sky, it's splitting. This is crazy. This is absolute bananas. And someone says, we've got to get out of here or we're going to die. And then we see Silver Axe and he's like, let's steal a ship and get off this island. Hmm, interesting. And then they're like, huh? What about Rox's ship? It says, dumbass, no one's going back. And then Shiki's like, the Rocks pirates are history. And everyone's like, hurry to the coast. And we hear, Vice Admiral Garp, can you repeat that? And he says, I said, get everyone, every survivor and Marine you can aboard that ship and cast off immediately. And then we see the Roger pirate saying, Roger, what's going on over there? And he says, get underway. The instant Rayleigh's group is aboard. Wait for me at sea. And Roger and Garp says, I'll make it back for sure. Dude, this is tough. This is so tough right now. I like this is exactly what I wanted from a God Valley incident, if I'm being so for real. Just like, you know, there's sometimes where we think about like the events that are told to us in One Piece and how they don't either live up to the hype or they are skewed in the world government's propaganda. But this is turning out to be just like exactly what was said. Roger definitely looks like Ace there. Yeah, definitely. 100%. They both just fling off their coat and Garp says, Rox and Roger, I came to this island to catch the pair of you, but look how things panned out. Damn. And Roger says, well, all I wanted was to save Shacky, grab some treasure, and bail. And Roger says, want to call a temporary truce? And the Rox is just looking at them. And Roger says, can't say I'm thrilled with the that idea, but we can't just leave him be. And Rox just goes in for a stab, dude. And Garb jumps above it and says, hey, Rox. And then we see Roger running up behind and he does a crazy slash move. and hits him in the back, and he just like goes through the rocks. And Roger or Garp grabs him by the foot and says, "This form, this curse, we can't we undo it somehow?" And he just throws him into the ground again. And then we see Roger say, "Wake up!" And he slashes down. I know, baby. I know. It's crazy. And then Rayleigh says, "Hurry. Roger won't stop fighting till he's sure we've escaped." And then someone says, "It's strange, this hockey." And then we finally see Gloriosa, who has been MIA for all of God Valley. Like, what are we doing here? And then she says, "Nice ship. You don't mind if I tag along, right?" And Gabon's like, "Gloriosa?" He's as shocked to see her as we are. Just crazy. What's going on? Maybe that was just burning it. Baby be sleeping. Um, and then Big Mom says, "You listening, Kaido? Consider this a lifelong debt. You'll pay me back one day, mark my words." That's so funny. And Kaido says, "Don't be stupid. You lost fair and square, Linlin. Now watch. I'm gonna start a crew where brutality is the only law." And Big Mom says, "You've grown bold, haven't you? But you'll never be able to beat me." Lonely Mage says, "Interesting that Roger used his sword two-handed. Someone pointed out that maybe that's why it was such a big deal. Shanks lost his arm because, like Roger, he fought with his sword two-handed." Hmm. I don't know. I've always honestly, mostly when we see Roger fight, he one-hands it. And so like maybe the fact that he's using two hands here just shows his like conviction to take this seriously. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't know here. Because yeah, I see what you're saying here. He's definitely two-handing it. Maybe he only two-hands it with tough opponents, and maybe Mihawk thinks that if Shanks can't two-hand it, then why do it? So I don't know. Um Struzan says, "Linlin, what are you doing? We've got to go. Load up the treasure." And Big Mom says, "One day I'll come to collect what you owe." And Kaido says, "I'll crush you when that time comes." You know, they did fight for a few days. So, uh, then we see Whitebeard and Fire. And it says, "You broke the mountain, didn't you, Newgate?" It says, "Who are you? Looks like your crew's also breaking up." What? No way. Please tell me you're trolling. You're trolling Oda. And it says Captain of the Polo Pirates, Polo Graham. And he looks exactly like Marco. So you're telling me that Marco's full name is Marco Polo? Stop it. Stop it. So stupid. Why is Oda so stupid? He says, the name's Graham. He says, "I'm a big fan." And he said, "You need a shipwright. Let's join forces." He said, "Buzz off. Don't get in my way." Little Only Mage says, "Oda has been holding out. that joke for years. For real, dude. Like, what are we talking about? That's so funny. That's so funny. His name's Marco Polo. So stupid. And then we see Stussy be like, "Hey, where's Newgate?" And we see Gonzui being like, "Don't ask me." And hold up here. We see someone, I don't know who that is, but they have like a hat, thing of treasure, and then it looks like they have the hollow fruit because there's a ghost sticking their tongue out right next to them, which is exactly like they look exactly like the ones that Corona makes, just a little different. Who is this guy? Imagine Polo Graham literally just has the phoenix fruit and just dies and then just reincarnates or like gets younger and becomes Marco Polo. Crazy. Crazy work. And then so that all of a sudden we see a marine vessel and it says, "Calm down, dragon. What do you think you're doing?" And Dragon says, "Me? What about you? Do you condone this?" And it says, "Dragon." It says, "Bring those survivors aboard. We're saving them. And if anyone's got a problem with that, I'll execute them." That's what I'm talking about, Dragon. The Lonely Mage is Gil Bastar, I think. Is that Gil Bastar? Yo, if he had the hollow fruit first, that's crazy. Yo, Dragon's so tough right now. I love this side of him. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that this is the type of stuff that I love seeing about Dragon. Because like him just standing 10 toes, like I will murder someone if they don't if they got a problem with us saving these people. The baby's getting fussy. Let's see if she chills out. Um, and this says, "This won't end well for you, Dragon." Interesting. And then he says, "Bring it on." And then we see, "Where are you going, Rayleigh Gaban?" And then it says, "Don't follow us. Sail the boat out to sea and wait." And then we see a world government ship. And it says, "That island." And oh my God, we see Saturn's face, but it's definitely like Emu's eyes looking through them. And it says, "That island never existed. Is that clear?" And then it says West Blue. And then we see the records kept by G11 and CP6 concerning the top secret level S special mission on God Valley are sparse. The names of the participants of the human hunt were purged. Little is recorded regarding the site of the incident, God Valley. And it says information regarding this island's whereabouts, size, and population were also purged. The number of casualties remains unknown to this day. And then it says, "Huff, Huff, did you know the government had ties to that black monster?" And it says, "Seems like an affront to justice." And he's like, "Wheeze, wheeze, I'm with you here." And Roger says, "If you want to leave the Navy, you should join us." And Garp says, "Hell no. If I quit, who'd protect the Marines?" And Roger says, "It's all about the mass, Garp." And Garp says, "The mass? What are you talking about?" He says, armament hockey can normally counter devil fruit abilities, and I'm using Conqueror's hockey coding to boot. So there's no way my attacks aren't doing anything. It says huff huff. And Garp says huff huff. It's because he's also using Conqueror's hockey to guard himself. It's not a surprise we'd cancel each other out. And he says, exactly. If we don't overcome that, the damage won't go through. And it says, we'll lose sooner or later if we keep trading blows like this. We simply can't match a monster in a battle of attrition. And then it says, so next time we use Conqueror's hockey, we should channel all of our mass into it. And it says, yeah, don't worry about how crippling the aftermath will be. And it says, if we do that, we probably won't survive this. And Roger says, either way, it'll take all three of us out of commission. And Garp says, and if we don't land this, it's all over. They just stand 10 toes and says, hey, Rox, I don't know if there's any words that'll comfort you at this point. I don't even know what's happened to you, but I do know one thing. I can feel your frustration. And he says, this is no time for tears, you dolt. And he says, Kaga Suchis, as he's like spinning his blade around. And then Garp is like getting ready to throw a crazy punch. And he says, infinitum, infinitum. And he just slashes. And so it's Kagasuchi's ace. And it's infinitum explosion. And they just blast through. It says the world government tried their best to bury the incident in the shadows. However, the disbanding of the chaotic crew led by Rox Dizabek would leave an undeniable echo. The Rox pirates destabilized an entire era, and the tremors of their legacy would continue to shake the world. And it says a legendary incident uncovered. Wow. You know, this is really interesting because I love this duo. I'll let you rock. Um, of like Rox and Roger, like the fact that he's literally like calling him out for this, saying like, "Did you know the government had ties to that black monster?" Seems like an affront to justice. Like that's such an amazing line because that's how I want to be. That's how I see Garp, and like I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? You're supposed to be the greatest Marine, and you're just kind of trash. I don't know. And the fact that Roger's like, if you want to leave the Navy, you should join us. And then Garp's like, hell no, if I quit, who'd protect the Marines? Like, that's kind of cool too. Like, I don't think that's legitimate. I don't. But it is cool that this is his thought process, you know? I don't think it's a good one, but it is one. And that's something that I kind of like. Someone is just fussing over there and then chilling out when I look over. Um, and like just the fact that I really like this, and I can't wait to read this legitimate translation. Because him being like, it's all about the mass, Garp. And he's like, the mass? What are you talking about? He's like, armament hockey can normally counter devil fruit abilities. And I'm using Conquer's hockey coding to boot. And it's like, so there's no way my attacks aren't doing anything. And then Garp's like, it's because he's also using Conqueror's hockey to guard himself. It's not a surprise we'd cancel each other out. And he said, exactly. If we don't overcome that, the damage won't go through. And he's like, we'll lose sooner or later if we keep trading blows like this. We simply can't match a monster in a battle of attrition. And then it says, so next time we use Conqueror's hockey, we should channel all of our mass into it. I wonder if that's gonna be like translated into like willpower or something like that. And it says, yeah, don't worry about how crippling the aftermath will be. It says if we do that, we probably won't survive this. I wonder if Roger using all of his might here to do this is possibly the reason why he got sick. I don't know. Just a thought. But damn, this is tough. This is a tough ass chapter. I like this. Um, Lonely Mage says best fight in any backstory. And then the Lonely Mage said, when Garp says Marines, I think he means individuals and not the institution. That's perfectly fine. Again, don't think it's a good answer. If you want to protect Marines, you have to beat the people that are controlling them. You know, obviously, the world government ultimately has the Marines at their beck and call. And so, if the world government is run by the five elders, celestial dragons, and also Emu, then you can't protect everyone beneath them because the whole agency itself, regardless, is corrupt. So, um, but man, just incredible. So, this is the end of the God Valley incident. But what happens after? Now we're getting back into Harold's backstory. What happens to him? And all the things that take place after that. I wouldn't be surprised if what happens to Rox is exactly what happens to Harold. Only the two people that end up having to defeat Harold are um, Loki and Jarl. So I don't know. I don't know. All I know is, man, Clutchy, I forgot about Harold. Yeah, everyone forgot about Harold. But that's why this is so interesting is because I think that Loki we're seeing this because it's going to happen twice. Like I truly believe that two people are going to probably have to team up to take out Harold. And I believe it was Jarl and Loki. And in the process of them defeating Harold, Loki's the only one who remembers it because while it was happening, Jarl got stabbed right in his face, right in his head, and so he can't remember. Some of these comments, even Garp would prefer to undo it instead of killing Rocks. It says, looks like Garp knows about emus existed and decided to protect Marines from emu by staying in the Marines. Yeah, that's a bad excuse. Yeah, this is, man, this chapter was great. Man, I can't wait for this. Cannot wait for this to be animated. This is gonna kick so much ass. Like, I'm so glad they're going seasonal for this shit because it'll probably take like it'll probably take forever to get to this. And I'm so glad. Just like I know that I know that Toei right now is reading this chapter going like, yo, we're gonna have to hire Jesus himself to animate this. Like the disbanding of the rocks and just the way that Garp and Roger are acting is just he's like, I'll make it back for sure. Like them both saying that and then throwing off their coats to tee up on rocks. Like, man, just like him getting put by Roger just to then get picked like his grabbed on his leg by Garb just to throw him into the ground and then hit him again and then splitting the sky and all the rocks pirates just being like, yo, we're dipping out. Like, and this Marco Polo joke, hilarious. The dragon standing on business, and then the fact that Rayleigh and Gaban are going back. I'm guessing Rayleigh and Gaban saved Roger and Garp. And yeah, there's a lot of emotion too. And then it's like, I don't know if these words will comfort you, but I can feel your frustration. And he's just like crying as he's fighting them. And they just blast him away. Damn. So crazy. So crazy. This chapter, like, it didn't, like, it's not like it gave us like a ton of lore as far as like other things, but man, was it gas. Because literally at the end there, they break the other side of the mountain. They basically just like obliterated the island. So good. So good. Um, let's send me a reminder. Hold on. Yeah. No, this was great. It truly was. And oh man, this has got to be a 9.5, 10 out of 10 chapter. It was so good. Just everything. Like I said before, just the teeing off from the jump. Clutchy said, "Do you think we see Emu's reaction in this chapter?" And do you think we see Emu's reaction? Yes. I mean, um, when I get to it, I'll point it out here. So them just teeing off from jump, awesome. Them splitting the sky from like off jump, so cool. They're just, this is just hype as shit. Seeing the Rocks Pirates kind of just like fracture as the Marines are like, and Roger Pirates are like, yo, what's going on over there? And they're like, we'll make it back, but get everyone away. Um, Next chapter, my bad. Maybe we see more of Emu's reaction, but we got a little bit of it today with this chapter. Not today, whenever the chapter came out. But it says when they're like, yo, we're going to go for a temporary truce. I'm like, hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother. Um, and I love how they're just like, can we undo it? Like, and then just more of the Rocks pirates breaking up, them fighting, and them finding the whole like Newgate finding the captain of the Polo Pirates, Polo Graham, who looks like Marco's dad. When we saw, like, I think it was last chapter or the chapter before, there was a dude who looked exactly like Marco. So funny. And if this turns out to actually just be Marco and his fruit just allows him to keep reincarnating and him forgetting the memories that he had when he was that version of himself and he just changes his name. And so instead of him being Polo Graham, he's now Marco Polo. So funny. So funny. Oh, 10 out of 10 Oda humor. Like so good. Um the dragon standing on business. I fucking love that for him. I do. It's amazing. And then this reaction of like it looks like Emu is talking through Saturn. And the fact that he's like that island never existed is that clear. Again, that to me is Emu's reaction to what's happening on that island. He knows that Rox is going to destroy everything and the island's pretty much going to be wiped. Um and them just going at it, destroying the other side of the island. Um them talking about Conquerors hockey and needing to basically like almost from what I gather from this is like we need like this whole thing is like so next time we use Conquerors hockey we should channel all of our mass into it. To me that's almost like releasing it only at one certain point, like probably at the point of impact. And I kind of like bring it to that idea of like Jujutsu Kaisen where they Black Flash, where they release their cursed energy right as they impact, so that way it does like the most damage. I think that's what has to happen. So I'm just saying this is tough. I love this. Um, just like Rox's reaction to being them and Garp being like, I can feel your frustration. We're just gonna end it all by using like our strongest attacks. Um, and then the names are so cool. He says Kagasuchis, and then someone said Kagasuchi is the Shinto god of fire. So basically, it's god of fire ace, and just like uses like does a crazy move that like obliterates him from one side, and then the multiple fists of him doing infinitum explosion just goes crazy. And this just makes you wonder what's going to happen next. Because, like, the way this ends, the disbanding of the chaotic crew led by Rox D. Zebek would leave an undeniable echo. The Rox pirates destabilized an entire era, and the tremors of their legacy would continue to shake the world. This is a legendary incident uncovered. Um, Miguel says, yeah, but did Rox die? I mean, I would imagine so, but we don't even know. That's the crazy part. I'd say yes. Like to get hit by this double attack and it not kill him would be crazy. But who knows? Maybe it just expends the amount of hockey that Emu puts into them, and then once he recovers from that, then he's back to normal. Who knows? Maybe the combined Conquerors hockey negated the devil fruit power that Emu used to do this. Like, there's so many questions to ask here. Really, like it's kind of crazy. My daughter's just like over there, just like, yeah, it is crazy. What? She's just big chilling. Um, yeah, no, that's just crazy. This is an amazing chapter. It truly is. This is like a 10 out of 10 chapter here. I love it. We've seen Dami Reversi users regenerate like Froggy. Yeah, we have. Well, did we though? Because when he got his hand blasted by that shotgun and they Domi reversing him, it looked like his hand just was like kind of like Rayman. It was like kind of not attached really. Because like if we go back, hold on. Damn, it has been a while since we've been there. Let's go. Day. This is Domi Reversi. Okay, so Emu shows up. Emu's like, yo, check out my spell book, dog. Pulls out the blick, blasts his hand clean off. Um, so then he hits him with the Domi Reversi. He flips, and then he comes back the other side. Yeah, and he's kind of like his his hand is just kind of Rayman. Like it doesn't ever regenerate. Let me see next chapter. Let me see if it does regenerate. Nope. In the next panel, next thing, it's still missing. Yeah. In the next chapter, still missing. It's still kind of just floating there. So I don't think it does regenerate like that. At least maybe not. Maybe the wound itself to begin the Domi Reversi process doesn't. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Just maybe like it's sort of like the two wounds that Emu gave Rocks when he like skewered him to make him Domi reversed wouldn't have regenerated. Just very interesting. Very interesting indeed. It says, yeah, it has weird requirements. Yeah, like I don't know what the requirement is, but it seems like every time he gets hit, like he's just good. Almost like he is regenerating, like he's a god's knight or something like that. But I don't know. Because they're like not doing any like slashing damage that actually like cut him or anything like that. Like to similar how to like Garling was missing a part of his head and stuff like that and was regenerating slow. Like we don't really see that. Except right here at the end where they just definitely blew right through him. So we'll have to see. But man, break week. I think after these few chapters, like these three chapters back to back, I mean, I don't hate it just because like we need time to kind of sit with this chapter because it's kind of a banger. So I don't know. Could be me. maybe that's just me wanting to give Oda time and grace. Um, which like, obviously I want the best for Oda. Um, but yeah, I'm happy. This is actually very interesting because this is how it was foretold by Sengoku that Roger and Garp had to team up for this. Now, obviously, the circumstances are different. And like, I had a theory that it was the opposite. Miguel said, yeah, we need to simmer, but at least that's one layer of flashbacks over. Yeah, like, because again, first we had Harold's backstory of him coming to power. Then we had Loki's birth and how he became the way he is. Then we had Rocks and Harold, and now we're finally getting back to Loki and Harold and um how Loki actually kills Harold. Um, but yeah, no, this is just yeah, we need to simmer with it a little bit. I mean, there's a good chance that, you know, we will only be finishing up the Loki Harold flashback um by like New Year's. And then we could be going into 2026 finally getting back to Luffy, which is going to be crazy because then that means we're going to have been it's going to have been like 7 months since we saw Luffy and the crew fighting Emu or being in current timeline. So, I don't know. It's just a lot, but it's a good a lot. Just, makes you excited for what's to come. You know, I almost just wish that I could just if I didn't love doing these reaction streams and stuff like that, like I wish I could just let a few chapters pile up and then just read them all. But it's so hard to do that because I get spoiled or you know, I'm dealing with, the fact that I just enjoy doing these live streams. I really do. I love giving my thoughts. I love talking to you guys about my thoughts. Miguel said, LOL, flashback all year. Yeah, dude. It's been almost a whole year. I mean, it's been over half at this point. Because when did we start it? Between breaks and stuff like that? I mean, it was since 52. So that means it's been 13 chapters. The God Valley event had a good array of themes I think people have been asking for, like romance. Yeah. I mean the romance between, Shaki and Rayleigh was top tier once they finally got together, you know. And so I mean, it's definitely had a lot. It's had a lot. It's had a good bit of stuff for everybody who likes the different themes of One Piece. Um Yeah, it's been this is probably going to go down as probably the best flashback until we get like Ancient Kingdom, Joy Boy, that type of stuff. So, I uh I definitely think that this is going to go down as very top tier in the and I think that it's going to definitely put Elbaf in the conversation for like top 3 arcs once we get done with Elbaf. So, I don't know. All I know is that this chapter was a hell of a banger. I want to say it's 10 out of 10, 9.7, like range. And so I'm super excited about it. Um, but yeah. Oh, thank you guys as always for coming through. Please hit that like button if you could. That would be super helpful. It just helps the algorithm promote this video to other people. I'm always trying to reach new audiences here and there. It's been a little tough just because, I'm a new father. So, taking time to do streams like this when I have this little girl uh, asleep is great. Um, but mostly I've been taking the night shift. Um, so that way my wife can sleep through the night and stuff like that. Um, so that involves me being up late, and then a lot of people aren't on to see it. Um, but so thank you guys so much for being patient, coming on here. Like I said, please like the stream. Please follow me on my other content when I'm able to put it out. Um, it's very much appreciated, and I say it every time. One Piece is a conversation, and I love having that conversation with you guys. Miguel said, "Yeah, I think this is a good way on the road to Laugh Tale since this is probably what causes Roger to look for the truth." Yeah, I think that he always wanted to find the last island or find like Lodestar. And then I think that this probably propels him even further because when he sees Rayleigh for the first time, he's like, "Hey, do you want to turn the world upside down?" Like, he's always had this knack for curiosity, but I think that this propels that even further, I think. So, I definitely agree with you there. Um, Miguel says, "See ya, Taku. Thank you for the stream." Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for showing up. And Clutchy says, "Have a good night. Thanks for the review. At anytime, anytime. Seriously, I try and do these every time I get the chance. I don't think I've missed one yet. I may be late sometimes, but I try and get to them, and I try to stay spoiler free. Um, so thank you guys so much, and I will catch you next time. Like I said, break week, but then I will be back for 1166. Hell yeah.